All right, good evening and welcome to the April 8th, 2026 meeting of the Wilmington School Committee. Currently all members are in attendance with the exception of Mr. Ragsdale, who I anticipate a bit later on. First item on our agenda, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. All right. Up first this evening, I'm happy to welcome some representatives from the Wilmington Middle School. We have Aaliyah Karamusel and Ella Foreman. How'd I do? Good. I practiced. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
The 8th grade dance. Student Council, in collaboration with the Wilmington Middle School PAC, held the 8th grade Valentine's Day dance. The Valentine's Day dance was held on February 12th. This dance is the first dance of 2 dances that will be held for the 8th graders. The students enjoyed pizza, snacks, soda, and many more things. What a fun night. Also in collaboration with the Wilmington Middle School PAC was the 7th grade dance. The St. Patrick's Day dance was a great way to celebrate the holiday. Student Council was a big part of making this dance happen because they sold all the tickets.
MS Academics. It is hard to believe, but the 4th quarter is already underway. Students in all grades have taken MCAS and ELA and will begin the math MCAS right after April vacation. MCAS begins for Wilmington Middle School. 8th graders have already completed the ELA portion of MCAS, 1 down and 3 more to go. 6th and 7th graders will be taking them. The 7th graders started MCAS today and tomorrow.
Preparing for high school, Wilmington High School's guidance counselors visited 8th graders at the middle school. They reviewed the program of studies with students and helped them navigate course selections for their freshman year. Students are highly anticipating their move to the high school.
PE. What an exciting finish to PE's annual March Madness tournaments. Students completed in their 3v3 model, and it came down to some critical key plays. Thanks to our PE teachers, Miss Simpson and Miss Livermore, who continue to make this event as a student favorite. Students now are honing their floor hockey skills and looking forward to soccer and football after the April break.
The robotics team today went to Boston for a tech convention for analog devices, a Wilmington-based company. This convention was called GTC. This convention is to bring together industry leaders, engineers, researchers, and innovators from around the world. At this convention, students will have the opportunity to hear from inspiring keynote speakers.
Project 351, which is run by Miss Curtis, has been doing many good things since it started. Right now, they are running the clothing drive, which ends on Thursday, the 9th of April. Project 351 provides meaningful opportunities to make an even better community. She and Project 351 have teamed up with Miss Carol in life skills and have brought back the Friday snack cart. All proceeds go to charity. Staff is really looking forward to the afternoon treats.
World Culture. March has had World Culture Club learning about the Irish and Greek cultures. Students love learning about different traditions as well as traditional foods in these places. Students have already traveled halfway around the world this year. Next up in April, Germany, Guten Tag.
Students will be continuing panorama lessons as well as completing the panorama survey and advisory this month. They will also continue to work on their MARC lessons, which in conjunction continue to promote positive student success in our building.
Best Buddies has been having a ton of fun at our recent meetings. We've been playing lots of games, watching movies, and doing crafts. A favorite activity of this club was making paper ice cream cones to decorate the hallways. We are getting ready for the Special Olympics coming up in May, and we are really looking forward to the games. Let's hope for nice weather and no more snow.
All 6th to 8th grade students have the opportunity to purchase their yearbook, which is made by Miss Gill, who is one of the art teachers here at the middle school. People can purchase their yearbook by going to this following link, www.yearbookordercenter.com. You then can enter the code 13575. These yearbooks are handcrafted by Miss Gill, and so much work gets put into them.
Finally, we want to thank
you, Mr. Lorenzo, for his help with the
tickets for the dances.
Thank you both very much. You absolutely can clap. Questions or comments from the committee? Mr. Turner.
Of all these fantastic activities like the PE March Madness or the robotics or the MCAS, maybe dance, what was your favorite thing that's happened in the last couple of months at the school?
Probably Probably the PE, like 3v3s.
Nice.
I really like the dance.
Nice. Very cool. Thank you.
Dr. Bryson?
I thought you both did a really lovely job, and I love how you highlighted your parts so that it was really clear. So thank you for that. Everyone has reached out to me that you two were presenting tonight. Could I get a quick picture of you smiling?
Yeah.
For your families? I had multiple people tell me you were coming, so thank you. You did a really nice job. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for being here. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you both very much. Appreciate it. The highlighting really was a nice touch. Okay. Continuing on, that brings us to our consent agenda. We have approval of minutes, March 25th, 2026. Is there a motion? Mr. Golden, second. Dr. Bryson, all those in favor? Unanimous. We have approval of policies. This is a second read. Policies KBE, JJE, IJOA, IJOB, IKC, IKFA, and IL. And you'll recall, all but the last three were recommended for approval with some changes or additions to language. And policies IKC, IKFA, and IL were recommended for removal. So you're welcome, Mr. Turner. Is there a motion? Mr. Turner. Is there a second? Mr. Ragsdale, all those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. We have approval of warrants, grants 33 and 34, revolving 58 through 63, local 106 through 110, food service 55 through 59, and FS4, circuit breaker 20, special education 57 and 58, capital 13, and payroll 4/8/2026. Is there a motion? Dr. Bryson, second. Dr. McCaldy. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Concludes the consent agenda and brings us to the superintendent's report. Dr. Thompson.
I think this might be the earliest that I've been on since I started back in July, so good thing
We're just hitting our stride.
I know, all right. So a couple things, there's some information in the packet around school choice. You will see in the packet a list of districts and other districts in the Commonwealth and whether they do school choice or not, whether they have specific grades, and so on and so such. Also at your place is just an initial numbers by grade level from our Destiny report. We are currently in the process of working on a per classroom report for each school, so you can take a look at that. As you know, state funding is reimbursed. We get money from the state. Take from one district, give to the other district of $5,000 per student. There is a possibility if there is special ed costs to get a little bit more through circuit breaker for that. But those are few and far between. It's usually for extraordinary services. Wilmington's per pupil cost is over $25,000 for this past year. I think it was $25,400, $500. So, you know, a lot of districts will use, you know, if you have 16 in the classroom and you have room for 20, they might add 2 seats there and get $10,000 to use towards the school budget. It is a little bit of advanced calculus. Once you allow students into the district, they have the right to stay in Wilmington until either they decide to leave or they graduate. So I don't know if there's other materials that, but we're obviously not taking a vote today. So this is kind of some preliminary information that I wanted to share with you and also determine if there's other information you would like. And if you don't have a request right now, I will take them tomorrow up until Friday. After that, you cut off. I'm just kidding. But if you have other requests, we will get that data for you.
Mr.
I don't know if this has ever been on the MASC list of priorities. I'm not sure it has, but the fact that $5,000 has been static for decades is really a blocker. I mean, it's just, the concept makes sense, and I appreciate the fact that our students can go to other districts that have school choice, and this is just a matter of whether or not we bring students in, but it's so far from cost that it's hard to even really contemplate why we would do it. when it would potentially have a negative impact on our budget from any one year to the next, that we'd have to have some other sacrifice for the students already living in town, so.
Yeah. You tend to see it in areas and in districts who are losing population, where they will try to fill seats to keep their capacity going. I mean, and enrollments are going down everywhere. The problem is they don't go down, in an organized way, so you can have, if you have 15, 45 kids in third grade, it's really not 2 classrooms, right? That's probably gonna be 3, and then you've got a smaller class size where you can try to fill in. But you tend to see it like on the Cape, where there is a definite decrease of school-age children on the Cape, and every district on the Cape does school choice, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Exel.
I just want to kind of note that, as was mentioned before, that last year we did sort of our deeper dive on this topic.
Sure.
And that one of the main reasons that we ultimately chose, again, not to participate in school choice was the idea that in a lot of, first of all, we had very little excess capacity at the elementary level to begin with. And then at the middle and high school, and people have pointed out that obviously there is, in one sense, capacity at the high school, that the overall enrollment is smaller than the building was built for. So there is physical space for additional students. However, we have sort of staffed ourselves up to essentially the capacity for what we have now, and that there are a lot of courses that are basically at capacity, and scheduling is already a little bit tricky at the school, and that similarly at the middle school, that while again there is like physical space for more students, but the way that we currently have it staffed is essentially kind of, we're already hitting kind of the limits of what our contractual ratios are in the classroom, and that's true at the middle school and the high school. And so although there is space for people, there is really not currently staff and room in classes. And so opening ourselves up to school choice would be something that we would really need to also think about, then expanding staff and possibly like expanding sections and classes to possibly absorb new students. And so it's been a year since we kind of looked at this, and I had to refresh myself on some of the reasons why we didn't want to participate that year. I would guess that this is equally true this year. And then additionally, of course, at the elementary level, we have the new school coming online in a couple of years. And so really not the time that we necessarily want to have unpredictable aspects of enrollment happening.
Yeah. Sure. If I could
You can,
just
of
follow
course.
up on that. So, in Norwood, we had space problems, especially the elementary. We did not, and even at the high school, did not have capacity to do school choice. Mashpee was different. But you don't want to get into a situation when you're outstripping the resources you're already paying for. So you don't want to be hiring staff to meet, because it's not enough money. The reimbursement's not enough money to cover that. It's where you have space because you have a shortage in one particular grade or school or what have you. You might add a couple seats, and you don't have to add hundreds. It could be. Last year we added in 4th grade, we added 5 seats, and that was it. So it was pretty limited, but. Thank you.
So thank you. I would just add, I think, just sort of, and Dr. Thompson alluded to this, the thought process for having this here now is sort of an informational thing, right? We'll recall that this needs to be submitted by June 1st. And so the thought was make sure that we all feel comfortable that we have the information that we need to make the right choice. And so the idea would be to have this most likely on the first May meeting on our agenda, just in case there was some school calendar-esque debate that necessitated more information, that it would give us a buffer of a second meeting to get to that June 1st deadline. And like Dr. Thompson said, certainly don't need your thoughts or desires for more information now, but if you can give it some thought and get it to the central office folks in a week or two so they can pull everything together, that's kind of the idea. So
One request that I do have now, just purely for the public record, because it becomes part of our packet. Most of the documentation we had last year had things like the letter from the then head of DESE and those other sorts of folks. Just putting those back in the package for that meeting, just for the combined record, I think would be useful.
Sure.
For anyone who wants the full picture in 1 year.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Anybody else? Mr. Izzo?
I just also want to note that in the, at least I think the last 2 years, that we've held a public hearing before the school choice vote
That's
as
right.
well.
That's a good reminder. Thank you.
I
Ms.
just
Lloyd?
want to comment, this is the first topic I remember being here for once before, so this feels like a full circle moment.
I remember that too, yeah. Awesome.
Wow, it's been a year.
Been a year already. It's been a year.
All right.
right.
Okay, recommended last day of school.
Yes, well, based on the snow we had yesterday, I'm a little, little nervous
hesitant?
about saving this. It was, I'm sure we'll all remember today was a little sunnier, so we may have forgotten, but that snow brought back some post-traumatic stress for me. But we did use 4 days for each of the big snowstorms because it was just so difficult to clear. We did have 1 2-hour delay. So we are required to make up 4 days. If we do that with our current calendar, that means that the last day of school, and knock on wood, no more snow, no more anything else to have would cancel anything, would be Monday, the 22nd of June, and that, as is in our contract and in our calendar, the last day is a half day.
Very good. Questions, comments? Okay.
Good?
And unfortunately, late end to the year, but understood.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes. And then my last reminder for the community is that April is Assistant Principals Month. So when you see an assistant principal, just give them a big thank you. So
Awesome.
and that is the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Anything else from anybody? Very good. All right. That brings us to public comment. Nothing submitted in advance of the meeting. As we always do, we'll open the meeting to public comments. No, Nate? All right. With that, we can move on to our one item of new business this week, the Hall of Fame warrant article. So I'll sort of bring everybody full circle and kind of reset the stage. You'll recall that at our last meeting in the superintendent's report, Mr. Stewart joined us to talk about his town meeting warrant article that would essentially ask the committee to name or dedicate the Athletic Hall of Fame at the high school to Jack Cushing. So the idea for this is, because it's a town, I know there have been some conversations about, does our policy match our process? Is our process what we want it to be? I know the policy subcommittee did meet or is just about to meet to start that conversation. But because there were 2 warrant articles that were already submitted for this year, I think it's important that we take those up sort of, I think, under the current process. The town manager has asked if it were at all possible if the committee could take a vote one way or the other before town meeting. I had asked Mr. Stewart when he was here if he had spoken to Mr. Ingram or Mr. Gendron. He wasn't sure if the committee had. I spoke with Mr. Gendron and Mr. Ingram both. Neither raised any concerns about this warrant article about potentially naming the Hall of Fame in honor of Mr. Cushing. So sort of just wanted to bring that sort of back to your attention and have that discussion. So that's Mr. Golden.
Thank you. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, please.
I was just going to say, I think I share a lot of your thinking on this. I think that it is important that we continue to kind of try to nail down our future policy on this, like a secular policy outside of kind of incidental individual requests.
Sure.
That said, I think that the 2 separate articles that have been presented to us in recent months, and then will be at town meeting, are worthy of our support. And they make pretty convincing cases that both of these individuals, or the individuals involved, are of significant merit to the community and to the school district. And I think it's great to have kind of that through line of history. And again, we have certain level of naming power. These gentlemen are great, but in the future, if there were some incident where something were to be named for someone, and a couple years later it comes out, oh, shouldn't have done that. That school committee in the year 2050, 2060, et cetera, could go back and probably rename someone.
Sure.
I don't think that's the case here, but I think that's something to keep in mind, is that you can always go back and edit. But I support the warrant articles that are before the town related to this.
Thank you, Mr. Golden. Dr. Bryson?
No, so I agree with Nick on that. I will just say, and maybe Mr. Ragsdale will want to say a little bit more, but we did meet, the policy subcommittee did meet this week and started to talk a bit about this, and it is complicated, and part of that discussion was, it feels like there actually needs to be a process. I'm sure David can say this much more eloquently than I can, but this idea of like, there's a process, there's a group, and there's a way to sort of nominate and submit, and people sit with a rubric and they go through it, and that seems to be missing. And so the policy sort of is one piece of it, but then really kind of the working guide, right? The practical part of it was something that we spent a little bit of time just saying, we need something like that, and it seems like now is the time to do that, because, well, I agree with you this year, but this could continue happening, and every time we can't have the same conversation. It just is not a good use of our time, and it seems like a process is needed. So that is definitely starting at the policy subcommittee, but then I think we're gonna pull people together and have more of a sort of like working group with other stakeholders, not just the three of us sitting there saying, oh, we think this would be a good way to do it, like kind of pulling in other people to kind of help us talk about that, so that there'd be a real committee around it, a standing committee almost, that would kind of come together to do these things. Mr. Ragsdale, did I do that justice? He's like, no, absolutely not. He's like, what are you talking
Could live
about?
1,000 years and never be more wrong. No, that was a great summary. We looked at some model language, not model language. We looked at some language for other districts who have naming policies, and some of them also have certain restrictions, such as if it's named for someone who who worked for the school system, that there should be at least 5 years since they stopped working for the school system. That there's kind of like a period of reflection, just a delay. I mean, this is very common in halls of fame themselves. You're not eligible to be inducted in many halls of fame, including our own athletic hall of fame, until some period of time has passed. In the case of memorializing someone who has died, again, like the policy that we looked at had a 5-year waiting period essentially before consideration. And not saying that we have to use those, but those were some of the things that that seemed to at least make some sense to give a deeper consideration to. And that, as Dr. Bryson said, that we didn't think this was something that just like, 3 members of the school committee should be the only ones sitting down and brainstorming ideas about this. That this would be something to to pull together a larger group of a working group with some other stakeholders who care a lot about this issue.
I think that makes good sense. Thank you. Ms. Lloyd?
I'll just bring in a little bit more. I know I shared already. First of all, I just want to say that for this situation, there was, I think, a picture shared of the actual, what would be on the wall, which I thought was really nice in honor of the person.
Sure.
Because it is celebrating and honoring that person. So I feel like that was great. For me personally, I just prefer to not name things after people, and that's something I've thought about and felt for a long time in all situations. And I know it's very traditional, though, to name things after people, so I definitely respect that is a common thing that people may want to go forward with. I, having worked at 2 different schools that were both named after a person, I just still to this day couldn't tell you anything about that person. And so I feel like what happens, we name something after a person and that name is meaningful to the people of the time, but it's not meaningful often to the kids who are going to that school in the future. Sure. And I prefer names that feel like they belong to inspire the community, and that the children have a meaning to, and the teachers have meaning for. And so it's just a different way of, I think, thinking about the purpose of naming. I think it's to celebrate the person, so I don't want to not celebrate the person. I just would prefer names, be more celebrating feel more inclusive and celebrating the whole community. Just from my own experience, I grew up going to Abundant Life Christian school, right? So I'm not suggesting a religious name, but the name inspires some meaning, to the kids that are going there. And so it says something. So that's just where I would stand on just naming in general.
Okay, thank you. I agree quite a bit. I think I really like that, using our buildings as an example, that we don't name our buildings after folks. And I think given what our current practices are, I have a hard time thinking of, I think to Nick's point, folks who are more deserving of this type of honor than Jack Cushing is. So while I'm inclined to support this one now, I would really like to see this procedure, this policy, this process, whatever it is, get a bit more, I don't know, formalized, yeah, stringent. I think we need to be a bit more diligent in how we do these things. Nick?
I'll just say, it's possible that working group, that process we have when we discuss this and formalize it, I would be open to talking about what Becky's talking about, where maybe actually we do this and then we don't do anything. That's an outcome that could be possible from this discussion.
Yeah.
I think we should be open to that as a possible choice. So just know that.
Sure, Mr. Turner?
Two different thoughts. One, I think that we have an opportunity with the high school class that on Wilmington history and or a student senior project to get somebody to document all the things we have named for and make something handy and available on, say, the website. You know, there's a whole wall inside the front of the high school with current and former plaques from the old high school and the new high school, these sorts of things. Yeah. But that combination of thing, to the point of making it, connecting it to the kids to help them understand who these folks are.
Yeah. It's a great idea.
And then in terms of the working group that might be long-term, having somebody from the Historical Commission, having somebody from a couple other places in town to bring the Cultural Commission, to bring those sorts of voices to, I think would be very useful. Because that's a place where it's in the school, but it's in some ways as much about the town as the school. So making sure that we're thinking of those things. And then conceptually, if you're naming something for somebody, do we do it? Say, we're naming this for this person for 20 years or 10 years or whatever, and we'll vote again on it in 10 years. We can keep it there. That's easier and faster than taking it down. But if there's somebody else that's the right person, I mean, those sorts of ideas could come up as well. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any need with like the Joanne Benton Auditorium to ever change that name, but 100 years from now, there may be somebody who like revamped the entire fine arts program of all of Wilmington High School and impacts thousands of children in a new way that they want to honor for that space. So being flexible about our thinking and making it meaningful for the town and the people at the time, I think is something that's okay too. So
I appreciate that. Dr. Reisen?
Yes, I mean, I don't disagree, and I actually really agree with Becky's point on this, and some of the things that we've talked informally about, either through that policy meeting or just maybe when we were just looking at where the placement of some of these things are. It's sort of, is there a way to, when you name something after someone, that's it. But is there a way to sort of thinking of the high school where it has the names of people who served on like a building committee, right? Like it has like a plaque that has multiple names. And I think that there could be sort of like, I mean, this is something you just discussed, but a place where other names are also honored so that there are other people who we may want to say, there's also a small dedication to someone else who participated pretty heavily in, say, the band program. Like, you name it, to Becky's point, that's it. Like, and that does become, I think, problematic to her, and even at this point, when students hear those names, are they like, oh, I know who that is? I mean, it does start to kind of fade over time, and to your point, oh, but it's a way to keep the history alive. So I'm like, oh, I see both sides of it, but I think we'll land somewhere well when we start to really uncover some of these pieces, but.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a community member, and this is a reference that may get me in trouble in Boston, but something similar in idea to what the Yankees do at whatever it's called, Monument Park, where they have this dedicated space that honors people who were important to the organization, right? Is that something that we could do that isn't naming something after somebody, but just having a garden or a specific place that honors folks, right? So, it sounds like some good work to come, and I appreciate that you guys have started that conversation. That said, I do want to settle this issue this evening so that we can get that information to the town. It's a town meeting, and so. You were gesticulating. Are you going to say something? Or?
No.
All right.
This time.
Mr. Golden.
I'll move that the school committee recommend the approval of both of these articles related to naming.
We would just need the one, because I think we already approved the first one, which was the Coach Scanlon one, so we just need to do this one for the Hall of Fame.
So edit, I move the school committee.
Amended.
Amended of the memorial for Mr. Cushing, that is on the town warrant.
Thank you, Mr. Goldman. Is there a second? Dr. McCaldy, any further comments or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? All right, 6-1 to 0. Thank you. Okay, that concludes new business. Old business is, you've got a memo in your packet on the school calendar, Juneteenth holidays. Dr. Thompson, do you want to walk us through this one?
Sure. I'm not going to read every single word in here, but as the committee requested, we did seek counsel from our district attorney. There are several things that relate to, so for those who have not been following, Juneteenth in 2027 falls on a Saturday. And the question was, did we need to observe Juneteenth on the 18th, which would have been that Friday? And there's several things that come in to this: state law, which seems to take the precedence, federal law, as well as contractual obligations. So state law, the Secretary of the Commonwealth identifies all recognized state holidays in Massachusetts. Juneteenth is considered a state holiday. The Secretary's website contains the following language as it relates to holidays. Below is a list of legal holidays. Juneteenth is one of them. State, county, municipal offices are closed on these days. Holidays falling on a Sunday are observed on Monday. Saturday holidays are observed on Saturday. Federal offices are only closed on federally recognized holidays. The term federal holiday is not applicable to individual states and the private sector because each state has jurisdiction over their holidays. So Andy shares that he interprets the above language to mean that if a state holiday such as Juneteenth in 2027 falls on a Saturday, the holiday would be observed on Saturday. And that means that employers are not required to observe the holiday on the Friday before the Saturday. So then it gets into contractual and bargaining agreement language. Many contracts, collective bargaining agreements contain language stating that if a particular holiday falls on a Saturday, the holiday will be observed on the Friday before. To the extent that Wilmington has any contracts or collective bargaining agreements that contain such language, you're required to compensate the people covered by that contract if they are hourly employees at their holiday rate of pay. Salaried employees who are paid salaries, regardless of where the holiday lands, would not normally be affected. Based on, I'm not sure if that's me, David, or you, David, summary of the educational assistance contract below. If Juneteenth is not considered a holiday in the Wilmington Public School year and the 26-27 school year, bargaining unit members would not be eligible to be paid for the holiday. You will want to review all of your collective bargaining agreements to ensure that none of them have language that requires payments of a holiday, even when the holiday falls on a Saturday. So for the town of Wilmington, although not legally binding, if the town of Wilmington is going to grant its hourly employees to benefit for Juneteenth in 2027, even if the collective bargaining agreements do not contain mandatory language requiring payment, you may want to factor this into your thinking. As I could see residents or school employees feeling mistreated if they're not paid for the same holiday that town employees are. So we need to do a little more digging with that. And then number 7 is not on there, but as I have shared with several members of the committee, this based on if there is only one snow day or no snow days or even 2 snow days, this might not even become a factor for that Friday. So that is the legal opinion, and I wanted to share that with you folks.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you to council for that. Questions, comments, thoughts? Is that, do we feel sufficient information?
So,
Mr. Turner?
to be clear, we've reviewed all the other contracts and none of the other ones specify this day?
That is my understanding.
Was there one that we were concerned about?
Administrators have that listed as a holiday. But if it falls on a Saturday, I guess that doesn't matter then.
Right.
But it's not.
Ms. Lloyd?
I was just curious, just in any of these situations, if it's a possibility to have it be more like a floating or a day that could be taken after school is out, if it is an issue, because I feel like, and this might be overcomplicating it, but just in my mind, it's not that we don't want people to have a day. If it's something that is part of the contract, it's really about being able to finish up the school year. So I just was wondering if administrators, for example, might be able to take the day after school is out, like on the Monday or whatever it might be.
I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, you could do something like that, yes. The year-round employees, yep. Or those that owed certain days after school gets out.
Mr. Exner?
So I'd say based on this legal opinion, I would make a motion that we designate Friday, June 18th, 2027 as a school day if necessary, if the snow days make that necessary in the 2026-2027 school calendar.
Okay, made motion. Is there a second? Ms. Lord, any further discussion? Mr. Turner?
I've stated a lot on this, so I won't state more, but I don't agree. So.
Fair. Dr. McCauley?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the intent with it. I do think the intention of the holiday, though, I think we need to be cognizant of that before we take any decisions on this. And then I think I said this a couple of school committee meetings ago, was I think maybe if we do a summer retreat this year, see if we can just have the school year end before the holiday, because this is just going to be a problematic day. Just the timing of everything seems to be an issue the whole time that I'm here.
Just a clarifying question. Andy's, the memo with Andy's input, I think he's referring to checking other town employee contracts, which, has that been done to see if so that might be something to look into. I wasn't sure if that had already been looked into to see how the rest of the town departments were landing on it.
I have not, so no. Yeah, that may need to be something that we need to do, yeah. Okay. Okay. Other questions, thoughts, comments? Okay, there is a motion and a second, so we do need to vote. That said, David, correct me if I'm wrong, the motion is to include June 18th, 2027 as a school day if needed.
Yes, that's correct.
More or less.
Right.
All those in favor? Opposed? That is going to be 2 in favor and 5 against. Okay, so it sounds like from some other comments that contracts may need to be checked. There may be some further conversation we want to have in a summer session or something like that. So let's put that tentatively on our agenda for the summer. And as we have said at several meetings previously discussing the calendar, we can always revisit this as we move ahead. So I'm sure you guys want to talk about the calendar more, but we do. Okay, thank you. That concludes old business and brings us to subcommittee reports. Mr. Turner, do you want to talk about the Town Hall School Administration Subcommittee final meeting?
I would be happy to. On March 26th, the Town Hall School Administration Building Committee met. We reviewed the final budget and the fact that there's a small surplus remaining in the budget versus what was originally allocated from the town.
That's right.
There was further discussion about some details, but then the final motion of the meeting was to turn over the settling of the final bills to the Standing Permanent Building Committee, and the committee dissolved itself. So that work is done.
That's a great summary. I would add, not because I asked the question, but because I've heard other folks make the conversation or the comment about the size of the parking spaces at this building, which you may note are standard and within regulations, but feel a little small. So the town is going to look into that. There are some, I understand, and I don't know the technical terms, but there are some spaces where the asphalt or the ceiling, because of the weather, isn't perfect, and so the contractor will have to address that, and they may look at parking spaces at the same time, they may look at it down the line, but you are not hallucinating, the parking spaces do feel small.
Yeah,
And
you haven't gained a lot of weight after Thanksgiving.
your cars are not wider.
Okay, all right, yeah.
The town manager is aware, and they're looking into it, so there may be more to come on that, so. Yeah. Okay, other subcommittee reports. Mr. Exon.
So as previously mentioned, the policy subcommittee met on Monday, and in addition to looking at the naming and memorials policy, we reviewed a number of other policies, which will be coming to the committee on our next meeting for a first read.
Excellent, thank you.
So
Appreciate,
look forward, get psyched.
I appreciate you
policies
guys
come-
getting
more
back
policies
into
come.
it. That's awesome. Very good. Thank you. Mr. Golden.
Yeah, and I'll just say, the last Wilmington School Building Committee meeting, have we updated about that since we were here? I think we have.
Yeah, we
Never
talked
mind.
about that.
Big submission, 1,000+ pages.
Thank you, Mr. Golden.
Next one is next week.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good segue. Hearing nothing else. Correspondence?
None this evening.
Future school committee dates and other notable items. April 9th, 2026, the Wilmington Middle School and Wilmington High School jazz bands, grades 6 through 12, will be performing at 7 p.m. in the Joanne M. Benton Auditorium at the high school. April 14th is the next Wilmington School Building Committee meeting at 6:30 p.m. here in this building. April 20th to 24th is April break, school vacation, no school. April 29th, our next regular session meeting at 6 p.m. here at Town Hall. April 30th, 2026, the Wilmington Middle School and Wilmington High School bands, grades 7 through 12, will be performing at 7 p.m. in the Joanne M. Benton Auditorium at the high school. May 5th, the North Intermediate, West Intermediate, and Wilmington Middle School bands, grades 4 through 6, will be performing at 7 p.m. at the Joanne M. Benton Auditorium at the high school. May 6th is an early release day. May 7th, the North Intermediate, West Intermediate, and Wilmington Middle School and Wilmington High School orchestras will be performing. That's grades 4 through 12. Times are not listed, but I'm guessing it's 7 p.m. in the Joanne M. Benton Auditorium. We will check that. May 12th, 2026, Wilmington Middle School chorus, grades 6 through 7, is performing at 7 p.m. in the Wilmington Middle School Auditorium. And I will add, don't forget, April 25th, 2026 is the town election. Polls are open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Precincts 1, 2, and 3 vote at the new senior center, and precincts 4, 5, and 6 vote here at the new town hall. Mr. Turner, what did we miss?
So I presume the town meeting would be the day following, or the Saturday following that.
Town meeting is May 2nd.
Yep.
That's right, thank you.
And then evidently the senior prom is on May 1st. Some people may be celebrating such an event. And one of the coolest days in the Wilmington schools is the future teacher celebration on May 8th at 9:20. It's effectively like a signing day for those who are intending to go into the education professionals. And that is a fantastic new tradition in the schools that I really, really appreciate.
Awesome. Thank you. Great additions. Anything else? Jackson.
Mr. Farrar will be proud of me advertising this. For the WMS and WHS Jazz Band concert tickets, that's the only band concert where tickets will be sold at the door. So if at 6:30 people don't have anything to do and they want to swing by, they can get tickets at the door.
Come on down. Come on down. Awesome.
Come on down.
That's a good plug, Jackson. Thank you for that. Anything else? Hearing nothing, this may be the shortest one yet. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Golden, enthusiastically, is there a second? Ms. Lord, all those in favor?
Talk about the calendar more.
Unanimous. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you, good night.
Good night, everyone.